Few names in history evoke both admiration and controversy like Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius, a reformer, and an emperor. His story is one of unparalleled ambition and resilience. Welcome to B-Class, where today we explore the incredible rise, dramatic fall, and enduring legacy of one of history's most fascinating figures. If you're new to our channel, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And yes, press the bell icon. The chaotic streets of Paris, where angry mobs are protesting, and in the corner of the city, the guillotine stands as a symbol of the turmoil. Revolutionaries are toppling the monarchy, and the old regime is crumbling. The atmosphere of the city is unstable, bearing witness to the darker side of French politics. In 1789, France was burning in the flames of revolution. On one side, there was hunger. On the other, political instability. Discontent was brewing among the people, fueled by the reign of King Louis XVI, as they demanded their rights. The country was sinking into chaos, and in this tumultuous time, a young Corsican officer was rising to prominence. His name, Napoleon Bonaparte. At just 24 years old, he quickly made his mark in the army with his intelligence, bravery, and impeccable strategy. This was a period of intense uncertainty. France's politics, society, and economy were lost in disarray. Yet, for Napoleon, this was an opportunity, a moment to uncover the potential of a revolutionary mind. Despite being born on the small island of Corsica, which had only recently become part of France, Napoleon's ambitions knew no bounds. Coming from humble beginnings, he quickly rose through the ranks of the military, driven by a mind that could see opportunities where others saw only obstacles. By the age of 35, Napoleon had seized control of France, declaring himself emperor. But how did a man with such modest origins go on to reshape an entire continent? Through his unparalleled military genius, Napoleon led France to victory in battles across Europe, defeating some of the most powerful armies of the time. His campaigns were nothing short of legendary, swift, decisive, and calculated. As emperor, he didn't just conquer, he transformed. Napoleon instituted sweeping reforms, from the Napoleonic Code, which laid the foundation for modern legal systems, to educational reforms that revolutionized French society. His empire expanded rapidly, stretching from Spain in the west of Russia in the east, uniting a large portion of Europe under French influence. It was an empire built on ambition, strategy, and an unyielding belief in his destiny. While history often remembers Napoleon as a brilliant strategist and ruthless conqueror, there's another side to him that makes him even more relatable. Beneath the iron mask of the emperor, he was, after all, just a man of deep emotions, personal struggles, and even romanticism. Take his famous words, "An army marches on its stomach." This wasn't just a military strategy. It was a reflection of his genuine concern for his soldiers' welfare. He knew that in order for his army to be successful, they needed to be well-fed and cared for. That same care extended to his personal life, particularly his relationship with Josephine. Though their marriage had its challenges, Napoleon's letters to Josephine are filled with passionate declarations of love. In one letter, he writes, "I am longing for you with an impatience that grows every day." Isn't that a side of Napoleon you don't often hear about? This deeply emotional, vulnerable man who, despite being a feared emperor, was also capable of love and longing. It reminds us that behind the titles and battles, there's a human being just like any of us, struggling with relationships, showing care for those around him, and sometimes even caught in the complexities of love. Napoleon's rise to power was meteoric, but his fall came swiftly as the weight of his ambition began to crush him. In 1812, he made a critical decision. He invaded Russia. This was to be his greatest campaign, but it turned into a catastrophic failure. The Russian winter, combined with the scorched earth tactics employed by the Russian army, left his once mighty force decimated. His army, which had once marched triumphantly across Europe, was now broken and retreating in the face of the unforgiving Russian landscape. The great emperor had been humbled, but even after such a crushing defeat, Napoleon did not surrender easily. He returned to France, rallied his forces, and fought one last battle at Waterloo in 1815. However, this final stand ended in disaster. Defeated, and with no empire to return to, Napoleon was forced into exile. First, he was sent to the island of Elba, a tiny Mediterranean island, where he lived under the supervision of the Allies. But his spirit was not broken. Less than a year later, he escaped, returning to France for a brief but glorious 100 days, before his final defeat at Waterloo sealed his fate. This time, there would be no return. Napoleon was exiled once more, this time to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic Ocean. There, isolated and far from the world he had once ruled, Napoleon spent his final years reflecting on his life and his empire. The man who had once controlled most of Europe now faced the quiet solitude of exile. His greatness had been eclipsed by his own overreach. But even in his final days, Napoleon remained a figure of immense historical influence, a symbol of ambition's rise and fall. Napoleon's life was marked by extraordinary highs and devastating lows, but in both, there are lessons we can learn and apply to our own lives. One of his most famous quotes is, "Victory belongs to the most persevering." And perseverance was something Napoleon understood deeply. Despite setbacks, failures, and even exile, he never gave up on his ambitions. His story teaches us the power of determination, the ability to rise after every fall and keep moving forward, no matter how difficult the journey. But there's another important lesson in Napoleon's rise and fall: adaptability. He was a master of strategy, always adjusting his plans to meet the demands of the battlefield. In business, in life, in anything you do, being able to adapt to changing circumstances is vital. Sticking to a single plan when the world around you changes can lead to disaster, as Napoleon learned the hard way during his Russian campaign. Finally, Napoleon's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overreaching. His ambition was undeniable, but at times, it blinded him to the limits of his power. It's a reminder that while ambition is essential for success, we must always be aware of our limitations and the cost of unchecked desire. As we move forward in our own lives, Napoleon's story pushes us to ask, how far are we willing to go for success? Are we ready to adapt, to learn from our mistakes, and most importantly, to persevere in the face of adversity? Napoleon may have fallen from the heights of power, but his lessons remain as relevant as ever. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. As Napoleon once said, impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired. History is full of heroes and lessons. What fascinates you most about Napoleon? Was it his genius, his charisma, or his flaws? Let us know in the comments below.